Ooh, it smells foggy. What is that mean? Welcome, you guys. I'm Monique. Welcome to the Generational Wealth Panel. I'm going to set the mood for y'all for a second as we bring Dominique on. Hey, girl.
Hey, can you
hear me okay?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, okay. My AirPods are acting kind of funny, so.
I had to actually switch some things. So welcome, everybody, to today's panel on generational wealth. I am your host, Kristen. I'm the CEO and founder of CoTripper, and I'm super excited today to be talking with Dominique. I've had the pleasure of hearing Dominique speak many times, and she is a finance expert. She's the founder of Finances Demystified, and she's our speaker for today. So I just want to start off by welcoming you and having you share a little bit about your journey, like why finance, how did you get to this point? And yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to be here today. Yeah, we have we've been shared stages, been in the same room quite a few times, Kristen.
Yes.
And I think the last time was in Richmond when I saw like in our yeah. So this is my first like official mom, I guess, conference or whatever. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so again, my name is Dominique Broadway. I'm an award-winning financial planner, personal finance expert, and the founder of Finances Demystified. So I went to, I guess how I got started, I went to Bowie State University, which is a historically Black college in Bowie, Maryland. I majored in banking and finance. And when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a financial planner, well, more specifically, a stockbroker.
Hold on. Okay. There's still, sorry, ladies. Sorry for those of you who are here. There are some moms still on the main stage. So we're just going to pause for like 2 minutes and then we're going to get back started. In the meantime, hey, we're talking money. Get your drinks.
I don't have a drink.
It's okay.
I dropped the ball.
It's all right. We'll give it a few minutes. Hey, welcome. Welcome. We got started prematurely, so I'm going to do some reintroductions of who we are. You guys are in the Generational Wealth panel. Shout out to all of you who are joining us. Drop where you are, drop your name and where you're tuning in from. I am Kristen. I'm the CEO and founder of CoTripper, which is a single mom platform that I'm developing that will launch this summer. I am so glad to be sharing the stage with Dominique Broadway. As I stated before, I've had the pleasure of hearing her speak a couple of times, and you guys are really in for a treat. Dominique is the founder of Finances Demystified. She's a finance expert, and she's a speaker. So welcome to you guys, and welcome to Dominique. We were just getting into kind of her backstory. Yeah, her backstory. So if we could rewind that for all the new mamas joining us, just give us your backstory and how you ended up in finance.
Yes. So again, my name is Dominique Broadway. I'm an award-winning financial planner, personal finance expert, and the founder of Finances Demystified. So we were saying the backstory. So I went to Bowie State University, which is an historically Black college in Bowie, Maryland. I, ever since I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a financial planner, but more specifically a stockbroker. And, after being at Bowie State University and trying to get these internships at these firms, which I had to like fight my way in, being a Black woman and coming from an historically Black college. Yes, BSU. Got some BSU people in the comments here. And I, like I said, started out working in college at a major firm called UBS Financial Services. And while I was there, I was working with clients that were, they had $10, $20 million in investable assets. And, after before graduating from Bowie State University, they offered me a full-time position. I bought my first condo before I graduated from Bowie and went on to become a financial planner and wealth advisor, like I said, to these high net worth clients. I was a licensed stockbroker and wealth manager and planner for high net worth clients, and did that for a few years. And I was in my dream job. Like I said, this was a job I wanted to be in ever since high school. And even through high school and through middle and elementary school, I've actually always was an entrepreneur, right? So I started my first business when I was probably like 6 or 7, just selling bracelets and things like that. Owned a couple other businesses, and even in high school was the chief operating officer of a technology firm, I guess you could call it. Basically what we did in high school is we actually taught kids how to use computers. This is before they were teaching it in the school system. So me and my good friend Michael Chambers started that. And then I also was the, I guess, co-founder of my dad's vending machine company. So it was basically just, we had like 30 vending machines of bubble gum and stuff like that. So I've always really been into just making money and making my money work for me. So to go back to, how I kind of got to own Finances Demystified after working at a couple firms. I worked at UBS Financial Services. I also worked at Element Financial Services and one other firm, which was my mentor's firm. I realized that people just did not have access to financial education, especially people that looked like me. And so a lot of my friends kept coming to me asking me for financial advice because I had bought my first house before I graduated college. And they're like, whoa. Like, we were at the same parties. What the hell were you doing that we weren't doing?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, wait, y'all don't have the same like financial education and just information, and your family didn't talk about this? And they're like, no. And so I had to keep constantly telling them that they couldn't become clients of the firms that I worked at because they didn't have enough money, because you needed at least $500,000, sometimes $1 million to become clients of those firms. So I honestly just quit my job and ended up starting my company what's it called? For Sisters Only was the first kind of kickoff for when I started my company. And then from there, we just, we started winning all these awards, and, now our services have expanded from just one-on-one financial planning and coaching to online courses, digital products, working with major brands. But that's definitely, that's my story and how I got started and where I am today.
Awesome. So it sounds like you were always really entrepreneur, which is amazing. And I know, like, we're all in this pandemic. Shit is hitting the fan everywhere. Unemployment is at highest rates ever, or almost ever. And so talk to us, since we're talking about generational wealth, talk to us about, through this pandemic, what are some wealth building opportunities that you see for the moms here? Like, what could we be doing now to kind of secure generational wealth?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, and this is such a great question, because I think everyone goes into different situations with a different viewpoint, right? Some people are like, oh my gosh, we're in this pandemic, the world's coming to an end, I'm going to be broke, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, unemployment's high. And you can literally get into this whole woe is me mindset, right? And I'm really, really big on having like a mindset of thinking, trying to see the best in all these different situations, right? And also looking for opportunities to make more money. I've actually made more money during this pandemic than I had made before. Earlier this year, I think I'm actually on track already to make more money this year than I did last year. And I was pregnant all last year too, so that was the thing. But because there's so many different opportunities, right? There's more people that are home. So if you have a business, this is a great time to be marketing your business, creating more content. If you are, like me, I do have a strong investing and trading background. I kind of put that to the side over the past few years because I've been so focused on building my business. But now that I'm home all the damn time, like everybody else, I started back trading, right? And now I'm back to making thousands a day just trading, right? So just looking for so many different opportunities. And even if you don't want to be a day trader or trading all day, this is also a great time for you to just, take the money that you have and look for the different ways to, finally start investing into the things that you wanted to invest in, looking for ways to monetize your skills and your assets. I think one of the biggest things that we've all realized during this pandemic is that you really, truly cannot depend on one paycheck. You cannot, because so many people's paychecks have gotten cut. I think unemployment is, we're over 40 million, I believe, that are currently unemployed. And that's a lot of people, you know, and that's also a lot of people who even thinking, I did a workshop or a conference a couple weeks ago with students who are recent graduates and how so many of them are getting their job offers rescinded, you know, and it's sad, right? People are going into this really graduating into a really tough economy. So I think it's important for all of us to think about all the different ways that we can bring in income. One of the ways that I also bring in income from my business is she said she would love a mommy investment group. I'm working on that, actually, have to say. But anyway, I'll come back to that. But another way is public speaking, right? So all my public speaking engagements for the year were canceled, right? So that was money that was technically lost. A lot of them are turning into to virtual so that the pay is less, right? So that's one thing that was kind of cut, you know? So it's really important to make sure that you have all these different streams, and we can, you know, kind of delve more into that. But yeah.
Yeah. What would you say are like your top 3 streams that you can get into during the pandemic? Like the top 3 that you would recommend if you haven't started anything to actually start doing something. What are the top 3 that you could think of?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would say it depends on where you are, right? With your kind of skill set mindset. But I think this is a great time. You know, if you have a skill set, creating some sort of online course, teaching, the business of teaching in general is huge. I mean, people are literally teaching people how to do, you know, do a finger coil at home. Like I literally have seen hairstylists who are making more money from home because they're doing virtual appointments, they're doing virtual makeup sessions, right? So it's really just thinking about ways that you can take the skills that you have. One of my clients, she was a yoga teacher. The yoga studios aren't open, so she's doing private sessions for her clients over Zoom, and she's making more money because now there's no issue of having to cancel the yoga session, right? They're popping on, they're doing it together. She's still helping them with their form. So I would definitely recommend just taking some time, especially today or tomorrow, and just make a list of all the different skills that you have. I think you'll be very surprised at the skills that we have that other people need help with monetizing. I mean, some people, I even know organizers who are doing virtual organizing where people are literally putting their computer up in their closet and the organizer is helping them go through their stuff. Like there's so many different ways that we can you know, just look for ways to monetize money. I think that some of us, sometimes we feel like we have to go and start this huge like thing, you know what I mean? Like I have to launch this big brand. And sometimes it could be something super simple that you can go online and teach and make millions and millions of dollars from home, you know? And I know that's something that is important to us.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just putting a heavy emphasis on digital products. So like take your skills and turn that skill into a digital product. And I'm a firm believer in that. I've seen success in that too. And I think now where people are at home and they have time now more than ever to be doing stuff, they're looking for these things to do, like looking for things to do for their kids or looking for things to do, you know, for themselves. So you talked a little bit about kind of like mindset. You said people are at different places, so it's kind of hard to tell. Tell me about your kind of like methodology on triggers and what mindset you have to have, and how does that play a role in building generational wealth?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I talk a lot about spending triggers and things that trigger you to spend money, right? I think that when you're wasting money, you're affecting your ability to ever truly be able to create generational wealth, right? And that's what we're here to talk about today, generational wealth. I think it's important for us to like identify triggers in our family, triggers socially, triggers emotionally that force us to waste money. And I think that anything that's not adding to us building wealth and building generational wealth and building getting your coins up is taking away from it, right? I have one of my clients, I was talking to her the other day, and she like, you know, people are bored as hell right now to be like,
right.
Like, yeah, and she's like, I just spent $500 on like a purple wig, and I was like, what? Why? You still have debt that we're trying to tackle, right? But she's like, I was just so bored. Like, send that thing back. This is ridiculous. Like, so you have to really kind of think about what is it that you want to create? What do you want your lifestyle to look like? What do you want your children's life to look like? As you know, I just had a daughter. My daughter is 8 months now. Her name's Dawson.
Congratulations.
Awesome,
She's
right?
beautiful.
Thank you. She's amazing. And I'm thinking about death a lot more. I'm thinking about if I went out tomorrow and something happened to me, what is she going to have?
Right.
What will I leave her? Now, God forbid, I hope I'm around for a very long time, but I have to think about that. And this is something that I've definitely thought about before I had life insurance and stuff like that in place, but I'm thinking a lot more about that now. I definitely want to delve into that, but I think that, all those different things, we have to start thinking longer term. We were watching something, and no, actually, I think my fiance was telling me he was hanging out with one of his friends who's like multi-millionaire, and they were saying how their family used to get together like once a month, and they would talk about planning for the next 300 years.
Wow.
300 years. They were
Yes.
Jewish, right? They plan for their children. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that. And I want us to think about that like 300 years from now. And I know that seems like kind of crazy, but it's really not. It's not that long. It's like your grandma, your great-great-grandma, right? If you knew your great-grandma, it's literally kind of that lineage. And they were literally talking about like, this is the plan that we're putting in place for the next 300 years. So the next 300 years of our descendants are taken care of. Most, especially Black women or people of color, we're thinking about next weekend. Right. I have such a hard time talking to people on retirement. They're like, retirement? I'm trying to go to Greece next summer. And I'm like, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But we still need to think about the future. And if we're not thinking about the future and how we're going to build wealth for these other people and these people that are coming after us, we'll never be able to create generational wealth. We'll always constantly have a new group of people coming in, being born that are struggling and struggling and struggling. We're trying to eliminate some of that. There will be struggles, but we're trying to eliminate some of those struggles.
Yeah, and you said something that was really good that I want to dig into. Being a new mom, and congrats again on that.
Thank you.
How has that changed your thought process more tactically? Like, what are you doing differently in terms of building wealth? Not just the mentality of, okay, now I have to, leave an inheritance for my children's children and that kind of stuff. Like, but what have you done tactically different or in practice that's different than what you were doing before? Since we're all moms, it's helpful to like that transition can be tricky, right?
Yes, it can be. It can be. I think as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I started just kind of changing, doing things differently. Now, definitely still very adventurous. We traveled a lot before I got pregnant with my daughter, and even while I was pregnant with her, I was still traveling and doing these things. And I definitely was thinking a lot more about what am I going to leave her, right? So one of the things was definitely increasing my life insurance. I think life insurance is extremely important. If you don't have life insurance, you are doing your family a complete disservice. If you can't take the time to pay $20 or $25 or $30 a month to protect your family and to provide income and wealth for them when they're gone,
and do you recommend just through your employer, or do you recommend like having your own outside insurance?
So that's a good question. You definitely need to have it outside of your employer, because if you leave your employer, that insurance stays there. You want to have someone just ask whole or term life insurance. I think for a lot of people, getting term can be perfectly fine, because whole life insurance can be pretty expensive. And I don't want you to not get life insurance because you feel like it's too expensive. You can start with something like a term life insurance policy, $500,000 for, $35 a month for 30 years, right? And then you could always, have certain riders and things like that you can add on to convert some of it to whole life as your income starts going up. But don't let the decision of deciding between term, whole life insurance stop you from getting life insurance. And then the earlier you can get life insurance, better, because as you get older, it gets more expensive. So that's something that you want to do. So a lot of the life insurance that I have now, I actually got when I was like 23. So it's really, really cheap. And now I'm adding on more, right? So it's really important to do that. So that's one of the first things I think that everyone should do is, if you work for the federal government, still get life insurance. You always want to have a private policy. These policies that your jobs give you, they are while you're there. If you leave your job, it doesn't go with you. And a lot of times so I think federal government. I'm sure there's a lot of people from DC on this that work for the government, federal government. I think their program is called FEGLI. I think they allow you to take some of it with you, but I think the price can be a little bit higher. So you always want to have a private policy. There's a few that I recommend. I'm actually going to drop the link in here. I don't know if we have a blog post about it or not, but you can always, DM me or email me, and I'm sure, some other ways to get in touch with me after this. But please make sure that we are like getting life insurance. It's really, really cheap, $15-30 a month. Another thing that I did was getting my will edited really and added on. Now I have a whole fiance and a baby, right? So now we're working on getting our wills and our oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. Damn, I can't remember the name of it. But the thing that basically says, like, if something happens to me, who gets the baby? If something happens to me and my fiance, who gets the baby, right? Because that's something that's I think it's called like I can't remember what anyway. But anyway, having those documents in place are extremely, extremely important. Yes, plan of succession, that's what it's called. Yes, having that in place. So just estate planning in general is something I've been working on. So that was number 2. Number 3 was editing my beneficiaries. So editing the beneficiaries on my retirement accounts, investing accounts, checking accounts, transfer and deaths, to reflect if I wanted to go to a trust, et cetera, et cetera. So those are another thing that I did. And then I think the last thing that I did was opening up investment accounts for my daughter, right? So opening up regular investment accounts and opening up a Roth IRA for her as well. Yeah. So now she's 8 months old and she has a few $1,000s in her retirement account already, right? And so we did a Roth because, with a Roth IRA, it's all of the earnings are tax free, okay? And you can use the entire, so anything that you put into the Roth, you can take out completely penalty free, and then anything that you have earnings wise is tax free in retirement. But you also can use that money for her first time home purchase, completely tax free, and for school, completely tax free if colleges are still around 18 years from now, right? So that's why I selected to do that. Now you can only do $6,000 a year into the Roth, which is why we also have an additional investment account for her on the side, right? So you can actually do a Roth IRA for your child if they have earned income. Now she's 8 months old. She's not doing a lot of work, but she is a independent contractor of Finances Demystified. So every now and then, if a brand wants her in a picture with me, there's a fee for that. She gets paid. And that's how we're able to pay her as an independent contractor and able to give her tax-free money in investing, right?
That is a major key that you just even informed people that they can do that.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I'm not sure a lot of people even know that they can do things like that.
Most people don't know. So yes, she's a 1099 employee. I'm trying to look at some of these questions because they're asking. Yes, E-Trade has really great custodial investment accounts. So there's a difference too, really quickly. So there's a custodial investment account, which is like a regular one, which is more of a taxable account. And then there is a Roth. It's like a Roth IRA custodial account. So I get both because, like I said, you can only do 6,000 in 6,000 a year in the Roth. And if you're only able to do up to 6,000 then or less than that, that's perfectly fine. Just go with the Roth. But it's a great way to have tax-free money and to start saving for your children now.
Awesome. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and not drastically, but I know you're a mom of a very young daughter, so this may be more forward thinking for you. But like, how can we instill kind of financial responsibility in children? What are some ways that we as parents can educate through the different stages of kids' age, from when they're very young to maybe when they're a little older? It's more like you and I talking, but when they're young, just the concept of being financially responsible. Like, what would you recommend?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, my daughter, like you said, she's only 8 months, so we haven't taught her much. She has placed a trade before and I lost, but she's traded before. She's not a great trader so far. But yeah, I think I would say for me, what my parents helped me with, and I think I'm a pretty financially responsible person, is my parents took the time to explain to me, like, their finances at a very young age. So when I was, able to comprehend, I don't know, elementary, middle school, my mom sat down with me and was like, okay, and this is when people were writing checks, right? She'd be like, okay, this was how much mommy got paid, and this is, we have to write the check to pay the rent, we have to write the check to pay the electricity, we have to write the check to pay the car note, right? And it was just something that I realized that was happening. I knew that we weren't living free, right? Because a lot of times that's the issue with children. They just feel like all this stuff just magically comes. No, it doesn't. Now, if my mom was having any issues about it, I wouldn't know. She didn't tell me that, but she just explained to me the process of this is how it happens, right? And then my mom went on to be an entrepreneur. So I was extremely involved in the business finances of her, the business finances of my stepfather, and they talked to me about that stuff. And it's such a simple thing, but it's having the conversation. There's so many people who, especially in the Black community, it's like, money is the root of all evil, and we don't talk about money, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so scared to talk about it. And then people get to college, they get their first paycheck, and they don't even know who to ask. They're like, we're not supposed to talk about money. So the very simple activity of having those conversations, letting your kids know where the money comes from. And I think also even giving them an allowance. And I think giving them an allowance off of two ways is really important. I think it is important for our children to know how to earn money, right? We go, you sell a service or sell a product or sell a service or, do chores or whatever, and you earn money. But don't only teach them that they have to go physically do work to earn money. I think it's also important to teach them about ways to create passive income. So show them, have them sit down and pick stocks with you, right? That's what I used to do with my little sister. I'm like, what do you like? McDonald's. Okay, cool. We're going to buy McDonald's stock. Look, your McDonald's stock went up. Typically we're not going to sell it, but here you go. Here's some of the money you earned off your McDonald's stock. And she's like, oh, this is cool. So I can make money. I can have my money working for me, and I can go and make money. It's two things that have to work, that have to happen, right? So even for my business now, I have to work for some of the money. I have to go and work with the brands. I have to go and, do financial coaching and planning. But then there's also a large part of my income where I click a couple buttons and boom, 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 I'm making $1,000, right? That's money that is quicker, but I want money coming from all ways, right? So I think it's important to show our children how to make money in both ways. So they're not just coming out in the world and when I say this, I don't mean this negatively, as just an employee mindset. There's nothing wrong with having a job and being an employee. That's great. But you have to have other ways that you're making money too. You see what I'm saying? So those are some of the things that I think are extremely important. I know that have really helped me to start accumulating wealth at an early age, earlier than most of my friends. So yeah.
Yeah, and then I would just add one more thing. One kind of tactical thing that I do with my son is I give him the 80-10-10 rule. So anything that you earn, a portion, 80% of that is for spend. And it doesn't seem like, these maths are just for children level, 80% of that, you want to go to McDonald's, you're going to spend your money. $10 is for church or giving, right? So 10% is for church or giving, and then 10% is for savings. To teach them the concept of not spending all your money. And then, giving. I think giving is a big part of generating wealth. I think you give, if you're a generous giver, then I'm religious, so God will be a generous giver to you. And whether that's tithing or community work or whatever, but he has really taken on to that 80-10-10 because it's something that he can easily understand. So I would just throw that out if you have an older child.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great rule. And I think even taking that and having the jars too, sometimes people do so kids can physically see, creating jars, or even I've seen people create virtual jars as well, using your 80-10-10 rule. And I think the last thing is understanding and teaching them the importance of delayed gratification. Right. And I think, kids are like, I need it now. I need it now. I need it now. Right. And then people turn into adults and they're like, I need it now. I need it now. I need it now. And I'm like, you don't need it right now. You really don't. Exactly. And so those traits come over. That's one of the things that, as an entrepreneur, we've mastered the understanding and art of delayed gratification, because we work years, blood, sweat, and tears, broke. And then we hit that. So we understand delayed gratification. All entrepreneurs are okay with working their ass off in the beginning to the first couple of years. What they say, you work like no other, so you can live you work like nobody else is willing to, so you live like nobody else can or something like that, right? I can't remember what it's called.
Right.
I'm messing that up. But you get what I'm saying?
Just a few quick scenarios, and then I want to take like 1 or 2 questions. So I'm just going to give you these scenarios as if I'm this person, and you just give maybe just a quick tidbit or suggestion or piece of advice that you would give this particular mom. Okay. So let's see. I am a married, high-earning mom, right? And I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but I want to start building generational wealth. Like, what is the first thing I need to do in order to
so
take
you're a
steps?
high-earning mom, but you're paycheck to paycheck.
Yes, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Okay, very common. Very, very common. Very common.
Yes.
I think what I've noticed is that you really, and people hate when I talk about budgeting, but honestly, if you don't know where your money's going and you're not telling your money where you want it to go, it will go wherever the hell it wants to go. Point blank. So I think that if you know you're a high earning mom, but you're paycheck to paycheck, you have to look at yourself and see what the issue is, right? One, take a look and see what your expenses are. Are you spending too much money? Where is your money going? Are you living in a house that you can't afford? Are you driving a car that you can't afford? Because if you know that you're a high earner, but you're still paycheck to paycheck, you have to you have to stop and look at your budget. So that's what I would say. If you're in that situation, take some time today, tomorrow, whatever, and seriously look at your expenses and see where your money's going. A lot of the times it's just you. It's you, you're overspending, you're making up for something that area you feel like you're lacking, whatever it may be. So that's my answer. You got to look at your budget. You have to look at your spending.
Okay. And so now I am a mid-income mom. I have some disposable income. What are some of the things, what is an actionable step I can take towards like building generational wealth? I have this disposable income. Where's like the number one easiest place for someone starting to like start investing their money?
Yeah. I would say, if you have disposable income, definitely setting up investment accounts for yourself. In addition to setting up investment accounts for yourself, setting up investment accounts for your children, but also making sure that you have an emergency fund as well. I think people, really until recently, like kind of forgot the importance of having an emergency fund. It's for stuff like this, right? Situations like this. So I would say definitely starting there. I'm gonna drop you guys some links for like investment accounts that I recommend. I should have had these pulled up, but I don't. But yeah, hopefully that answers that question. I would say start investing and doing some of the things that we talked about earlier. Yeah.
Okay. And the last question is like, I'm a mom. I'm in the chat, like I'm talking to people and I really want a financial advisor. What are the top things after listening to this conversation? What are the top characteristics of finding a financial advisor that I need to know, or things that you would recommend a financial advisor kind of, is it synergy? Like, what is it? What makes for a good financial advisor?
Yeah, I think, having someone that understands and relates with you is very, very important. I've worked with a lot of people who, they're like me, right? I get them, they get me. I've had clients who come to me like, yo, I went and met with this, like, let's say older white guy, and he was like, our weave budget was too high, da, 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 da. He just didn't get it, right? And I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna have you wasting your money, but I do understand that certain things are more important to certain people than others, right? So I think it's important to, first make sure that there is that synergy and that you guys get along, because I have some clients who at first they hate me and then they love me. They're like, oh my God, I didn't like you because you were telling me to stop doing this different stuff, and now I see why, right? I think outside of that is when you're looking for a financial advisor, there's some really, really shitty and shisty financial advisors out here, excuse my French. And they are like,
especially on social media, and you're trying to sift through that shit. You're like, what is happening?
So bad. So I think the first thing is you want to ask your potential financial advisor, how do you make money? How do you make money, right? How do they make money? Do they make money off of commissions? Do they make money off of, charging a fee? Whatever it is, because a lot of times if they're commission only, they're going to just sell you a bunch of crap that you don't need, right? For a lot of people, they don't necessarily need a financial advisor. They may just need a financial planner or financial coach, someone to kind of guide them where they need to go, and then they can execute it on their own. If you don't have tons of money to invest, you may not need someone to manage your money for you. You just may need guidance. So I would say, ask them how they're making their money, ask them, what's their approach? For me, we do goal-based financial planning, meaning we start with your goals and then we help you create a strategy to get there, right? And we don't sell anything, whatever you pay, let's say us or our company, and I don't do work with as many individual clients anymore. That's all that we technically get paid, is whatever you pay, right? So it's unbiased. You don't have to worry about people selling you a bunch of stuff. But I would say, kind of start there.
Okay.
You can always.
And I want to jump into a few questions before, because I know we're going to get cut off soon.
Okay.
I have a good question. So what are your top recommendations for recession-proof stock recommendations?
Okay. That's a good question. I'm about to drop this link right here to Robinhood, which is one of the tools that I use. If you use that, it is a referral link. If you use that link, you do get one free stock. So don't say I ain't give y'all that. So use that link, you get one free stock, which is really, really cool. I'll get a free stock too, but you do get a free stock. So if you're looking for a place to start investing, start there. It's awesome. Beautiful app, super, super beautiful. As far as recession-proof stocks, there's no such thing as recession-proof stocks. Okay. As you can see, the stock market has been all over the place. I've made a lot of money. I've lost some money. I would say, if you're looking for a place to start investing, look around your house, make a list of places that you, things and places that you frequent, and start investing in those places. If that's, Chipotle, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, whatever, start there. But there's no such thing as a recession-proof stock.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to ask a few more questions before we close. Joelle Hall is asking, what things do you specifically do to set up your children financially for the future? So you talked about making them a 1099 contractor. That was one thing I heard. But he's asking maybe if you could elaborate more on what very tactical or specific actionable things they could do to set up their children financially.
Yeah, I would say everything that we mentioned. Honestly, I think the first thing is having a regular savings. So what I have for my daughter, she has a regular savings account, just regular straight cash savings account. She has a regular investment account, and then she has a Roth, a custodial Roth. Those are three things. How many of us had those three things by the time they turn 18? None, mostly none, right? So that alone is setting your child up. So if you want to start somewhere, start there. Give your child, save some money for your child. I hate when I meet people and it's like, I understand people are in different financial situations, but you have 18 years. Mm-hmm. You have 18 years to save for your child to go to college. And I meet people all the time, they're like, I literally have $20 saved. You have 18 years. Now, obviously life happens. I get it, but you could start with something. It could be $10. It could be $20 a month, whatever it is. She said, what was the third one? Custodial investment account, Roth IRA, and a regular savings account. That's the third one.
Mm-hmm. So that brings me to a point. I don't know how much information you can give about your clients, but what are the top things that you're seeing where people are irresponsibly spending that you have to correct for? I think that's important. Like where are most of the problems coming if you're advising somebody? Is it like personal spend? I know for me, it's probably personal spend. Like how do I curb personal spend, which is a personal problem as well. But like, what do you see as kind of being the top areas that people need to repair or change their mindset around?
I would say, just trying to keep up with everybody else is the biggest way that I see people wasting their money. They're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so just went on vacation. I want to go on vacation. Like, you know her situation, right? So I would say just definitely stop trying to keep up with everybody else. And then other than that, it was pretty much before this was going down was food. food and eating out. That's kind of gone away. But I've definitely noticed people, Uber Eats has been creeping up a little bit. So that's my answer there. And one more thing just about the accounts. I know people are mentioning 529s just really quickly. 529s are great. I personally I don't know. I'm still not sure if I'm gonna give my daughter a 529 or not, because 529s are to be used for school and for like college. I don't know if college is going to be around in 18 years, to be honest. So I don't know, but it is a great place, especially if you have a child that's a little bit older than mine, and when you first sure she's going to be going to college, because if you use that money for something other than college, you have to pay a penalty. So that's why I'm all about just kind of like you know, putting money in these other places where if she decides she wants to be an entrepreneur, she wants to take her million, billion that I saved for her and start a business, she can do that out of a Roth. She can do that out of an investment account. So 529s are great as well, but it depends on, you know, what your views are, but they're also a great option. If you live in Maryland, they have a really great plan where they actually match some of the contributions you make. If you go to, I think it's like maryland529.org or .gov, one of those, can't remember, but yeah.
Awesome. So now, since we just have a couple minutes left, what do you want to leave people with? What are some actionable things that you can just leave people with that if they do nothing else, do the hell this? Okay. What are
Before I give you that, can I just one thing real quick? I see this. There was another question here that I think is a good question. Stacy had asked, what do you think about retail opening online boutiques? I think it's a great idea. If you're good at selling something, you have something to sell, do it. I think Shopify is a great place to quickly get a website up and running and like get some ads going and start selling. I would say yes, open an online boutique, open whatever you're good at selling and what makes you unique. So that's my answer to that. So if there was a final thought, I would say, please start thinking about our futures and start thinking about our children's future, children's futures as well. Don't just think about tomorrow and next week. Think long term. Think about 200 years. Think about 300 years. If you're talking about legacy, we're talking about building generational wealth. We can't just plan for next week. We have to plan for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 years. So I want you guys to start thinking that way so that we can give all of our children an advantage and leg up. Okay. So those are my final thoughts. Please, you know, start investing. Also too, I'll drop, please follow me on IG and all of the websites. We're dropping some brand new webinars in the next 2 weeks to help you get started, especially moms in investing. So please, they'll be free. So please sign up for those or just get on our email list as well. But yeah, thank you so much. I don't know. Are we out of time?
Yes, I'm trying to see. I'm checking in if we have time for more questions. We ain't cut off yet. So
and then one more. I'm gonna if you want to learn how to budget, save, all that good stuff, I have a 5-day challenge as well. That's free. It's 100% free. You can sign up for that. It literally teaches you everything that you need to know about finances.
Yeah. And I see there are still some questions coming in, but some things that I want to just reiterate that Dominique said was like digital products.
And real quick, it's yourwealthyyear.com. I don't know, the hyperlink isn't showing. Oh, I gotta put the HTTP. Okay, hold on.
You got it.
But it's yourwealthyyear.com, and you can also access it from the link in my bio on IG. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And tell us that's your free 5-day course. Is that what that is?
Free 5-day course. It's really, really good. Like,
y'all better
I should be charging for it.
Can I do? That's a free 5-day course. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, everybody is offering these resources. And I think the number one thing, like when you're trying to generate wealth, you want to be talking to as many people as you can in the spaces of generating wealth. And if you can do that for free, like Dominique is offering here, I would really urge you guys to take advantage of that. And I want to reiterate her saying, look at what you're doing, what you're great at, what you're passionate about, right? And make a digital product. Like, y'all, I have a love-hate relationship with digital products, but they are effective. Okay.
They're amazing.
They are, and they work. I'm a consumer of many of them.
I love when I'm sitting there just like breastfeeding and like money's coming in. Like, that's what life is about.
We have 4 minutes left, so we can keep the kiki going. Okay, I'm gonna have a little. Bring some more questions.
Any other questions you guys have? This has been great. Honestly, any excuse to like put on makeup and like hang my nails.
I'm like, wait, I'm gonna wear this.
Yes, I have a whole dress on right now. Okay, whole dress.
We got 4 minutes. Let me see your dress, girl.
Let me see it. Okay, we like a whole. Because sometimes I'll just have a cute shirt on. It'll definitely just be like random shorts on. So I gave y'all a whole dress. So no, Robinhood does not offer the custodial investment accounts. I go through E-Trade for those. And the website is yourwealthyyear.com. Yeah, I would try E-Trade or Charles Schwab for the custodial Roths. I'm just scrolling through real quick.
Yep.
Yes.
And dollar signs if y'all just got y'all life blessed by Dominique. I want to see all the dollar signs if y'all have got y'all life blessed today, because I feel like I'm gonna be online, like, okay, what Roth? Okay, I'm gonna do that.
We will be doing some webinars for small. We will be doing
magic. Okay?
We will be doing some webinars for small business owners as well. We have a course called Managing Your Money as an Entrepreneur. If you go to our website, you should be able to see it. I think it's like less than $50. It's really, really good information. Well, we got a lot of webinars dropping
now because I told him to drop some dollar signs.
I know, right? Yourwealthyyear.com is the website for the free course. Trying to make sure I think I answered it all. Oh, if you need financial planning or coaching, just hit me up. I take on a few clients every month, not a lot, just a few. So please hit me up.
Yep.
Okay. And awesome. She said she got her email confirmation for the challenge.
Someone's asking, is there a minimum, or do they just reach out to you for that?
For
clients, I think she's asking for you to put them on. Like,
oh no. We just coaching, getting people where they need to be, financial coaching, and yeah.
And did you drop your links, right? You dropped how they can stay connected with you. And I'm sure like this, I'm sure we'll send that out to you guys too.
Yeah.
How to stay connected with Dominique.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's just like at Dominique Broadway, right? On Instagram.
Yeah.
All right. Well, looks like you got all these, they're falling in line. They are ready to build this generational wealth. Okay. I'm here for it.
Yes.
Advice for couples figuring out financial philosophy.
That's a good question.
Weekly budgets. Like I have a weekly, when I was with my old baby daddy, child, weekly budget meetings every Sunday that we would just do our budget to actual. So here's our budget. We dumped all of our income in that spreadsheet. And then we went over every Sunday, like just have that conversation around your money. That's the place to start.
Similar thing for me. Every Sunday we do our money dates. We talk about, we're in constant competition, who made more money for the week. Anything that's coming up, but it's having those talks. We do weekly, some people do monthly. But we're constant competition. So
yes, thank you guys. I know we're about to go to the next session, but love you guys. And I hope this was valuable for you. It surely was valuable for me. So thank you, Dominique. You have been amazing.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
I think they're going to cut us when they at 2 o'clock.
Oh, someone had a question about budget template. There's a free budget template in the Your Wealthy Year challenge or whatever.
So make sure y'all got that link. It's pinned there. So, all right.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference. I know I will.
Awesome. Thank you, Dominique. Once again.